We have the scores, highlights, and updates from the state semifinal. Welcome back to myGSPN Recap. Good afternoon, guys. I'm Chris Gonzalez.
And I'm Ricky Saborido.
And thank you guys for tuning back in to myGSPN's Recap, where we talk high school sports.
As you guys know, the show is brought to you by Garden Grocer and You Discover Florida.
That's right, Rick. And we have a very exciting show for the people today, highlighting the two games that we were out at this past Friday night. But before we get into all the action, I want you guys to go ahead and make sure that you're following us along on all of our social media handles to stay up to date with the hottest sports coverage in high school sports. Now, Rick, we were over at two great games this past Friday night in the state semifinal. These teams were battling it out for a spot in the state championship game. Go ahead and take us through that Jones game, man.
Yeah, Jones, they hosted an undefeated Wakulla in Orlando. These are two #1 seeds going at it. Winner goes to states. Does not get any better than that, Gonzo. Now, Wakulla would strike first with a field goal by Chase Linville in the second quarter, but it didn't take long for Jones to respond. A nice return off a squib kick would give Jones great field position, and then the player of the game, Avarius Sparrow, would get his first score of the night as the Tigers take the lead 7-3. Now, Sparrow would get his second score just before halftime on this 3-yard run, giving the Tigers a comfortable 14-3 lead. Now, guys, let's jump to the third quarter. Jones is up 14-6 at this point. Check out this insane interception. The big man tips it, and Jones is able to snag it for the INT. And you know who they're going to give it to? Avarius Sparrow gets his third of the night. He finished with 219 yards and 3 touchdowns. What a game by him. Now, Jones is sitting pretty at this point, heading into the fourth quarter with a 21-6 lead. But Wakulla was not going to go down without a fight. Early in the fourth quarter, they get a touchdown after this fumble recovery to get within one score. Shortly after that, they have the ball again, and quarterback Worsham connects with his wide receiver Hughes on this beautiful catch and score. Now, Gonzo, all they need is the extra point to tie it up, but it gets blocked. Heartbreaker there. It's hard to tell from the video, but Jones was able to get a hand on it, and they hold on to the 1-point lead, and that would be all she wrote. Now, with that win, Gonzo, Jones reaches their first state title game in school history, where they're going to take on a Northwestern team from down in Miami, who's won state 6 times.
And that's going to be one hell of a game there, Rick.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, I know the Jones community is going to be all out there. Orlando's going to be deep in Daytona for that game. It's going to be very exciting to see what they can do, and hopefully they can go ahead and make history coming in as the underdog in that game for their first time.
Yeah, we will see. We'll be there. We'll be there. So
now, that was definitely a very, very close game, a thriller. We actually had the opposite of that in this game over here, Apopka taking on Steinbrenner, and it was all Apopka from the very opening kickoff. Jaquan Lohman goes ahead. He's going to set back to receive the opening kickoff, and there was no shot of bringing him down once he got into the open field. 75 yards, no flags, and the Blue Darters are spotted a 7-zip lead to start the game off. The next offensive drive for the Blue Darters, following a big defensive stop, Jaquan Lohman is going to find Jamari Jackson wide open in the middle of the field, and he is going to take it to the end zone to extend Apopka's lead to 14-zip in the first quarter. Apopka back on offense, and this time it's going to be Akeem Brown getting his number called. He bounces off his right tackle, makes a defender miss, and he is gone. Apopka starts the game off with a quick 21-0 lead to start this game. Steinbrenner is finally going to have an answer though. Quarterback Hayden Carlson with the play action drop to Dean Patterson. He's set up by a block to outrun the secondary and takes it all the way to the house for a score for the Warriors. First quarter closes out with Apopka leading 21-7. Apopka would waste no time getting back into the flow of things though. Jaquan Lohman finds the end zone again, and that's going to make it 28-7 for the Blue Darters. Coming up here, fourth down inside the 5-yard line for Steinbrenner, and a huge defensive play for the Blue Darters here. Steinbrenner going for it, but Jalen Carter says no, sir. Huge hit in the backfield to cause a big-time turnover on downs, and Apopka is going to be rewarded on the last play of the first half. Jaquan Lohman takes a direct snap and pretty much walks into the end zone untouched for his 4th score of the night as the clock hits 0 and both teams go into the locker rooms for halftime, with Apopka leading by a commanding 34-7 spread. Coming into the third quarter, both teams were actually held scoreless and throughout the majority of the fourth, but with 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the game, Steinbrenner finally finds the end zone again. Quarterback Hayden Carlson connects with Dean Patterson for each of their second scores of the night. The 2-point conversion is good, and Apopka leads 34-15. With just under a minute left in the game, Steinbrenner back on offense, but Nakai Martinez gets a blue darter pick six. Apopka bumps their lead up to 41-15, and that is going to be all she wrote. They punch their ticket into the 2019 8A state title game, where they're going to be squaring off against Columbus High School on Friday, December 13th in Daytona. That's in AA. This Jones game was in 5A. And another big shout out to the Edgewater Eagles, who defeated their opponents this past Friday and are going to be facing off for that 7A state title game. 3 Orlando schools in states this year.
Orlando showing out this year. Great job.
Orlando showing out, but another big time thing is South Florida. 7 schools from South Florida out of 8 going ahead and playing.
We know how good they are
game.
down in Miami, Northwestern. You got them all down there.
Yeah, you got them all down there. So that is going to go ahead and set it up for the state title games, guys. That is also our show for today. We want to go ahead and thank our sponsors, GardenGrocer.com. If you're staying in the Orlando area at one of the Disney resorts, go ahead and place an order for groceries to be delivered to your room at the time of check-in. Save money and time by shopping with GardenGrocer.com.
And also UDiscover Florida. If you're looking for a new restaurant, hotel, or attraction, check them out on Instagram at UDiscoverFlorida or UDiscoverFlorida.com.
Once again, guys, I'm Chris Gonzalez.
And I'm Ricky Saborido.
And thank you all for tuning back in to my GSPN recap, where as always, you guys know, it's your sports, all you, all the time.